little bit later than usual. I was getting things all set up and prepared for today. So, today I am doing something a little bit different than I normally would. So, as we all know, I normally will stream some kind of game or something along those lines. But today, I wanted to do something special for the holidays. Now, this little special thing that I'm doing for the holidays, I will warn, is not for the faint of heart. This is something that is not for kids and not for families. I am going to be reading scary stories that are surrounding things that have happened during the holidays. Some may be fake and false, and some may actually be true. If they are true, I will tell you that they are true. Other than that, they're mostly fake. Um, this is something that I have been considering doing for a while. I figured that reading scary stories is something that I would be good at. And I am going to share that with you guys today. So, yay! um, so, let us begin. The following are true murders that occurred during the Christmas time. The macabre actions by these twisted individuals give a whole new meaning to the term "'tis the season." The Ronald Gene Simmons murder spree. 3 days before Christmas in 1987, retired Air Force Sergeant Donald Gene Simmons, Ronald, sorry, I misread that. Ronald Gene Simmons embarked on a week-long murder spree when he killed 16 people. The murders began on December 22nd, when Simmons unalived his son and wife with a .22 caliber pistol, and then unalived their 3-year-old granddaughter. For more of for more of his children arrived home with the belief their father would be giving them their gifts. Instead, he unalived each of them in a rain barrel. On December 26th, the rest of the Simmons family arrived for Christmas celebrations. Simmons unalived his son, daughter-in-law, before unaliving their 20-month-old son. He then unalived his oldest daughter, with whom he fathered a child with her husband. I'm confused. Oh, I okay. He then unalived his oldest daughter, with whom he fathered a child with whom that wording is so not right. Hold on. That's twisted. With whom he fathered a child with her husband and their children. I'm sorry. Wait a second. What did I just read? My my brain. I am so confused. I am confused. What did I just read? Hold on. He then killed his oldest daughter, with whom he fathered a child with. Oh, this man is just no. Okay, this man's is all kinds of messed up. This man's is like all kinds of fucked up. He is No, no, thank you. Ooh, horrible person. Okay, on with the story. Sorry. I just can't believe what I just read. Already. Already. We're not even halfway through yet. Like I literally just started reading and already my brain, I just oh god. Okay. Continuing with the story. Simmons lined the bodies of his loved ones up neatly in his home and then proceeded to drink and watch television like normal. 2 days later, he unalived a woman who had rejected him, and then unalived more people he had disgruntled feelings for. At the end of the whole ordeal, Simmons simply surrendered to the police. He was unalived by lethal injection in 1990. Wow. That was a lot, and that was like the first story. I just and these people are probably just going to keep getting worse and worse. Wow. Okay, on to our next story. The Carnation Murders. On Christmas Eve in 2007, Michelle Anderson and her boyfriend, Joseph McEnroe, McEnroe, I cannot pronounce that, murdered unalived. Sorry. Hold on 1 second. I have to pause something. So I'm trying to be careful because I know there are certain Twitch regulations that I have to follow. Um, this is more difficult than I was expecting, and I had to pause a video that was playing in the background that I didn't realize was playing. Okay, let's start over. Oh boy. Center and focus. All right. So let me start over with this. The Carnation Murders, or unaliving, I should say. On Christmas Eve in 2007, Michelle Anderson and her boyfriend, Joseph McEnroe, unalived her family. The deranged duo arrived at the Carnation, Washington home of her parents in the afternoon and unalived her father and mother as they prepared for Christmas. The couple hid the bodies and waited for Anderson's brother, his wife, and their two young children, ages 3 and 5, to arrive. When they showed up, all four family members were unalived. Wow. Uh, Anderson is believed to have concocted the unalive plan because she believed she was abused by her parents and brother, and that they owed her money. McEnroe confessed to the unaliving and was sentenced to life in prison in 2015. Anderson is still awaiting trial. Wow. The Lawson family unalive. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. I don't know Twitch's regulations on these types of things, so I have to be very careful. On Christmas Day in 1929, A farmer named Charlie Lawson unalived his wife and six of his children. He waited for his daughters by his tobacco barn and unalived them, and then unal- wow, did more horrible things to them to make sure that they were absolutely just unalived. Lawson proceeded to unalive his wife Fanny as she sat on the front porch, alerting his younger children, who were inside. While his three small children attempted to hide from their father, he found them and unalived them. He then unalived his infant daughter before walking into the woods and unaliving himself. There were many theories as to why Charlie suddenly unalived his entire family, and the case quickly captured the attention of the people all over the country, spawning songs and even a museum. The unaliving of oh, I remember this one. Oh, I was a kid when this one happened. I remember this one. I remember seeing this one in the news for like most of my childhood. Oh my god. No. I don't know if I can read this one. Oh. Okay. Well, again, I'm not going to give graphic detail because I don't want to get in trouble with Twitch. So, but I am going to read it. I'm sure there are audience members who remember this and have probably seen this in the news growing up as well. Or like you were already an adult and you saw it in the news or something. So, let's begin. The unaliving of Joan Bonnet Ramsey. Sorry, I can never pronounce her name. It's very French, and I can't speak French very well. The Ramsey family lived in an idyllic life with their children in the picturesque community of Boulder, Colorado, where crime was very uncommon. However, in 1996, Boulder was rocked with one of the most shocking crimes of the decade: the unaliving of 6-year-old Joan Bennett, Bennett Ramsey on Christmas. The young girl was reported missing by her parents upon the discovery of a ransom letter placed on a staircase in their home. Hours after her disappearance, her father, John, discovered her unalived body covered in a blanket in the wine cellar. Joan Bennett had clearly been kidnapped. There were evidence to suggest this. The cause of death was strangle. Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, I can't read this. I'm gonna get in trouble. I cannot read this. Oh boy, okay. These are a lot more difficult than I thought they were going to be. Because how do I word this in a way that I don't get in trouble? Because these go into detail, and they go into graphic detail too. It's not just some, like, scary story. And some of these, actually, all of these that I'm currently reading right now were true crime. Like, they were real. They actually happened. This one in particular, I remember seeing on the news growing up. Let's try to find something else. Let's try to find something else. Let's try to find other scary stories that don't get me in trouble. Let's see. So I have to read the Twitch reactions here real quick. Sensitive content, extreme scene conduct, content that is extreme violence or gore, disturbing, distressing, especially its death, blood. Wow. Content that exclusively focuses on extreme or gratuitous gore is prohibited. Especially websites that have. Yeah, no. Okay. Let's see if I can find Christmas ghost stories. Because that would actually be. I won't have to worry about community guidelines with that. Now I know there is one. Um, it's not necessarily Christmas based, but there's one that's kind of local. And like the place where this haunting happens um is a lighthouse that's also like a bed and breakfast. And they have like a big Christmas party like every year, except for during 2020 because COVID. But every year they have like this big giant Christmas party that you kind of have to be invited to and all this stuff. And at the Christmas party, they actually talk about the story, even though the story is talked about all year around. Like, they kind of go in a little more detail around Christmas time with it. And, like, you can even stay in the supposedly most haunted room there and stuff. And it's actually really interesting. But, that's technically not a Christmas story. Or holiday story, I should say. So, I'm currently trying to look up uh, some spooky ghost stories for the holidays. Let's see here. Ooh, here is an article. 10 spooky ghost stories. Holidays. Okay. So this first one everyone knows about. A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, 1843. The most famous Christmas ghost stories of them all. Obviously, we have to start with this one. The miserly Ebenezer Scrooge is thoroughly haunted by three ghosts until he is scared into embracing the Christmas spirit. And they even have like quotes from the book, which I find that like actually pretty interesting. And I will read the little transcript quotes from these. Marley was dead, to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know, of my own knowledge, what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined, myself, to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hand shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. Will therefore permit me to repeat, empathetically, that Marley was as dead as a doornail. And then there's like an image here from the book. It's actually this next one. The Old Nurse's Story by Elizabeth Gaskell, 1852. A classic Gothic Victorian ghost story, replete with ancestral secrets, organ music, and a seriously haunted house. I turned towards the long, narrow windows, and there, sure enough, I saw a little girl, less than my Miss Rosamond, dressed all unfit to be out of doors, such a bitter night crying, and beating against the window panes, as if she wanted to be let in. She seemed to sob and wail, till Miss Rosamond could bear it no longer, and was flying to the door to open it, when, all of a sudden, and close up upon us, the great organ pealed out so loud and thundering, it fairly made me tremble. And all the more when I remember me that, even in the stillness of that dead cold weather, I had heard no sound of little battering hands upon the window glass, although the phantom child had seemed to put forth all its force, and although I had seen it wail and cry, no faintest touch of sound had fallen upon my ears. Whether I remembered all of this at the very moment, I do not know. The great organ sound had stunned me into terror, but this I know, I caught up Miss Rosamond before she got the hall door open, and clutched her, and carried her away, kicking and screaming, into the large bright kitchen, where Dorothy and Agnes were busy with their mince pies. Sounds like an interesting story. I kind of want to read this now. Sounds like something I would actually enjoy reading. This is the next one. Horror, A True Tale by John Berwick Hardwood, 1861. The slow burning suspense of this tale is enough to make your hair curl or turn white overnight, just like the narrator. I have heard since then of the Scottish belief that those doomed to some great calamity become fey, and are never so disposed for merriment and laughter as just before the blow falls. If ever mortal was fey, then I was so on that evening. It's an interesting quote. Like that. This next one is called Bring Me a Light by Jane Margaret Hooper, 1861. Snow White's stepmother got nothing on the vengeful Lady Henrietta. The story details how her evil deeds poisoned her family home for generations. She paced to and fro, turning and returning with savage, stealthy quickness. The day waned, and night began. Her servant came to see if she were wanted, and was sent away with a haughty negative. She is busy with some wicked thought, murmured the old one. Books with they're so interesting. I kind of now. The Ghost's Summons by Ada Buisson, 1868. A doctor is hired to witness a man's final hours. Wow, that is dark. To mind you, these are all supposed to be horror stories that are surrounding Christmas and the holidays. Would you be willing to earn £1,000? £1,000. His words seemed to burn my very ears. I should be thankful, if I could do so honestly, I replied with dignity. What is the service required of me? A peculiar look of intense horror passed over the words before me, but the blue black lips answered firmly, to attend a deathbed. Wow. The next story is called The Kit Bag by Algernon Blackwood, 1908. Sarah saw the title of this story and thought, The Kit Bag? And then read it only to find herself shrieking. The story is a great reminder why it's a bad idea to defend a person who unalives people. It is difficult to say exactly at what point fear begins. When the causes of that fear are not plain to the eyes. Impressions gather on the surface of the mind, film by film, as ice gathers upon the surface of still water, but often so lightly that they claim no definite recognition of consciousness. Then a point is reached where the accumulated impressions become a definite emotion, and the mind realizes that something has happened. With something of a start, Johnson suddenly recognized that he felt nervous, oddly nervous. Also, that for some time past the causes of this feeling had been gathering slowly in his mind, but that he had only just reached the point he was forced to acknowledge them. Yikes. Between the Lights, E. F. Benson, 1912. Christmas croquet and hallucinations. What's not to love? Wow, we're getting into hallucination territory here. Sorry, 1 second. Well, let us say for the moment that was not a dream, exactly, but a hallucination. Whichever it was, in any case, it haunted me for months. I think it was never quite out of my mind, but lingered somewhere in the dusk of consciousness, sometimes sleeping quietly, so to speak, sometimes stirring in its sleep. It was no good my telling myself that I was disquieting myself in vain, for it was as if something had actually entered into my very soul, as if some seed of horror had been planted there. And as the weeks went on, the seed began to sprout, so that I could no longer even tell myself that vision had been a moment's disorderment only. I can't say that it actually affected my health. I did not, as far as I know, sleep or eat insufficiently. But morning after morning, I used to wake, not gradually and through pleasant dozings into full consciousness, but with absolute suddenness, and find myself plunged into an abyss of despair. Wow, that's an intense thing to read. I'm sure a lot of us have had like that feeling when you wake up from a nightmare and you're just like, what was that? I have had that. I have had that before. Just the moment of just waking up and being like, oh my god, like just suddenly being forced out of sleep. And you're just like, that was not okay. What did I just witness? The next book is called The Dead by James Joyce, 1914. Though technically no ghosts appear, the story is haunted by the memory of a young man long since dead. A few light taps upon the pane made him turn to the window. It had begun to snow again. He watched sleepily the flakes, silver and dark, falling obliquely against the lamplight. Time had come for him to set out on his journey westward. Yes, the newspapers were right. Snow was general all over Ireland. It was falling on every part of the dark central plain, on the treeless hills, falling softly upon the bog of Allen, and, farther westward, softly falling into the dark, mutinous Shannon waves. It was falling, too, on every part of the lonely churchyard, on the hill where Michael Furey lay buried. It lay thickly drifted on the crooked crosses and headstones, on the spears of the little gate, on the barren thorns. The soul swooned slowly as he heard the snow falling faintly through the universe, and faintly falling, like the descent of their last end, on all the living and the dead. I like these quotes. They're so like they're so like eerie and intense and dark, but like in a way that it's not awful. Like it gives you that chilling feeling, but it's not something that's like super bad. It's not like the stuff that I was reading earlier that I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna get in trouble if I continue reading these. And some of them were like actually making me uncomfortable to read. So I was just like, okay, let's find something else. Okay. So the next book is called Smee by A.M. Barrage, 1931. A variation of hide and seek goes awry when 12 players find themselves counting their number as 13. interesting. Have you met the Sangstons? They are cousins of mine, and they live in the Surrey. 5 years ago, they invited me to go and spend Christmas with them. It was an old house, with lots of unnecessary passages and staircases. A stranger could get lost in it quite easily. That's it? Th- that's it? I thought there was going to be more to that quote. I'm a little disappointed. And I think this is the last one. Dark Christmas by Jeanette Winterson, 2013. In this contemporary tale, an idyllic Christmas vacation is troubled by the appearance of a manager and footsteps in the empty attic. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like what I just read. Okay. We are lucky, even the worst of us, because daylight comes. It was a brooding day that 21st of December, the shortest days of the year. Coffee, coat on, car keys. Shouldn't I just check the attic? The second set of stairs was narrow, a servant's staircase. It led to a lath and a plastered corridor, barely a shoulder width wide. I started coughing. Breathing was difficult. Damp had dropped the plaster in thick, crumbling heaps on the floorboards. As below, there were 3 doors. 2 were closed. The door to the room above my room was ajar. I made myself go forward. It was a little disappointing because that was such a short list and they actually didn't go into any of the stories. I was hoping to actually read something. Ooh, here's something interesting. It's from the Smithsonian Magazine. A plea to resurrect the Christmas tradition of telling ghost stories. Oh, please. Please, yes, let this become a thing again. Please, please, please let this become a thing again. I love reading scary stories and telling them. Though the practice is now more associated with Halloween, spooking out your family is well within the holiday spirit. I will be calling it holiday or holidays. I will not call it Christmas. Hi, Kite. How are you? The reason why I don't call it Christmas is because there's more than just Christmas. There's Hanukkah, there's Kwanzaa, there's Yule. There are so many other holidays, and there are other people in the world that celebrate around this time various different other holidays. So I call it holidays, I do not call it Christmas. Great miss! Yay! Yeah, I'm struggling to find any like actual scary stories. Instead, it's just like top 10 lists and stuff like that. The first thing though that I looked up was like true crime stuff apparently. Like it was I typed in like scary holidays or like stories around the holidays and it popped up like a bunch of stuff that was like true crime, like real things that happened, and it was a bit went against Twitch regulations, so I had to stop reading that and switch to something else. It was so hard to replace words, especially when everything was in detail. Okay, so back to what I was reading. So, for the last 100 years, Americans have kept ghosts in their place, letting them out only in October. In the run up to our only real haunted holiday, Halloween. But it wasn't always this way. And it's no coincidence that most famous ghost stories is a holiday story. Or put another way, that most famous holiday stories, the most famous holiday story is a ghost story. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol was first published in 1843, and it's a story about a man tormented by a series of ghosts the night before Christmas, or whatever you choose to call it, the holidays. Belong to a once rich, now mostly forgotten tradition of telling ghost stories. This is difficult. I can't keep reading like this. So look up like the Yule Cat and things like that? Is that what you're saying? Oh, I've seen art done for this before. The problem is like with the things that I'm looking like with everything I look up online, it doesn't actually pop up any actual stories. It just pops up like an article talking about it and it doesn't go into detail and it drives me nuts cuz I can't figure out where to find good Christmas stories that I can read or holiday stories that are creepy that I can read. This is more complicated than I was expecting it to be. Because I used to be able to just go online and immediately it would pop up like some creepy, scary story. Now I can't do that anymore. And it's like, why? Why is this stuff buried? You know what? I wonder. I have the Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales here. I wonder if there's some holiday related ones in here. Through the index here. I don't want you to know. I might just I might just read from the Grimm's fairy tale and change this. Change what I call this. There we go. That's better. So that way I don't have to like up to a particular standard. Okay. 27. That looks like an interesting one. Might do that. Okay. Wrong. Okay. I misread that. Here we go. Here's one that I wanted. That actually looks very interesting. So now we're delving into Grimm's fairy tales here. The Wonderful Musician. This gives me like Phantom of the Opera vibes. So I kind of was like, yes, I'm gonna read this. There was once a wonderful musician who went quite alone through a forest and thought of all manner of things. And when nothing was left for him to think about, he said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch a good companion for myself." Then he took his fiddle from his back and played so that it echoed through the trees. It was not long before a wolf came trotting through the thicket towards him. "Ah, here is a wolf coming. I have no desire for him," said the musician. But the wolf came nearer and said to him, "Ah, dear musician, how beautifully you play. I should like to learn that too." "It is soon learned," the musician replied. "Only you have to do all that I bid you." "O musician," said the wolf, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." The musician had him follow, and when they had gone part of the way together, they came to an old oak tree, which was hollow inside and cleft in the middle. "Look," said the musician, "if you will learn to fiddle, put your forepaws into this crevice." The wolf obeyed, but the musician quickly picked up a stone, and with one blow wedged his two paws so fast that he was forced to stay there like a prisoner. "Stay there until I come back again," said the musician, and went his way. After a while, he again said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch another companion," and took his fiddle and again played in the forest. It was not long before a fox came creeping through the trees towards him. "Ah, there's a fox coming," said the musician. "I have no desire for him." The fox came up to him and said, "Oh, dear musician, how beautifully you do play. I should like to learn that too." "That is too learned," said the musician. "You have only to do everything that I bid you." "O musician," said the fox, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." "Follow me," said the musician. When they had walked part of the way, they came to a footpath with high bushes on both sides of it. There the musician stood still, and from one side bent a young hazel bush down to the ground, and put his foot on top of it. Then he bent down a young tree from the other side as well, and said, "Now, little fox, if you will learn something, give me your left front paw." The fox obeyed, and the musician fastened his paw to the left bow. "Little fox," said he, "now reach me your right paw." And he tied it to the right bow. When he had examined whether they were firm enough, he let go, and the bushes sprang up again, and jerked up the little fox so that it hung struggling in the air. "Wait there till I come back again," said the musician, and went his way. Again he said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch another companion. So he took his fiddle, and the sound echoed through the forest. Then a little hare came, springing towards him. Why a hare coming? Said the musician. I do not want him. Ah, dear musician, said the hare, how beautifully you do fiddle. I, too, should like to learn that. That is soon learned, said the musician. You have only to do everything that I bid you. O musician, replied the little hare, I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master. They went a part of the way together until they came to an open space in the forest, where stood an aspen tree. The musician tied a long string around the hare's neck, and the other end, which he fastened to the tree. Now briskly, little hare, run 20 times around the tree, cried the musician, and the little hare obeyed. When it had run around 20 times, it had twisted the string 20 times around the trunk of the tree, and the little hare was caught, and let it pull and tug as it liked. It only made the string cut into his tender neck. Wait there till I come back, said the musician, and went onwards. The wolf, in the meantime, had pushed and pulled and bitten at the stone, and had worked so hard that he had set his feet free, and had drawn them once more out of the cleft. Full of anger and rage, he hurried after the musician, and wanted to tear him to pieces. When the fox saw him running, he began to lament, and cried with all his might, Brother Wolf, come help me, or come to my help. The musician has betrayed me. The wolf drew down the little tree, bit the cord in two, and freed the fox, who went with him to take revenge on the musician. They found the tied-up hare, whom likewise they released, and then they sought the enemy together. The musician had once more played his fiddle, and he went on his way, and this time he had been more fortunate. The sound reached the ears of a poor woodcutter, who instantly, without a thought, gave up his work, and came with his hatchet under his arm to listen to the music. At last comes the right companion, said the musician, for what I was seeking human being, and no wild beast. And he began to play so beautifully and delightfully that the poor man stood there as if bewitched, and his heart leaped with gladness. And as he thus stood, the wolf, the fox, and the hare came up, and he saw well that they had some evil design. So he raised his glittering axe and placed himself before the musician, as if to say, Whoever wishes to touch him, let him beware, for he will have to deal with me. Then the beasts were terrified and ran back into the forest. The musician, however, played once more to the man out of gratitude, and then went onwards. What the fuck kind of ending is that? Oh, that's fucked. Okay, that's okay. This man tortured these poor creatures and tricked them and got away scot-free. Nah, not acceptable. Oh, I forgot about this. It's so well preserved still. I have a flower in this book that I apparently pressed in here. And it's so well preserved. And it's so pretty. The usual. Okay, here. Let's see what other stories I can find in my book here. There's Rapunzel. Hansel and Gretel. What should I read? Snake Leaves, The White Snake, The Straw, the Coal, the Bean, The Fisherman and His Wife. I think I've read The Fisherman, where it was actually really interesting. I think I'm going to read that one. The Fisherman and His Wife. There was once upon a time a fisherman who lived with his wife in a miserable pigsty close by the sea, and every day he went out fishing. And once as he was sitting with his rod, looking at the clear water, his line suddenly went down, far down below, and when he drew it up again, he brought out a large flounder. Then the flounder said to him, "Listen, you fisherman, I pray you, let me live. I am no flounder really, but an enchanted prince. What good will it do you to kill me? I should not be good to eat. Put me in the water again, and let me go." "Come," said the fisherman, "there's no need for so many words about it. A fish that can talk I should certainly let go anyhow." With that, he put him back again into the clear water, and the flounder went to the bottom, leaving a long streak of blood behind him. Then the fisherman got up and went home to his wife in the pigsty. "Husband," said the woman, "have you caught nothing today?" "No," said the man. "I did catch a flounder, who said he was an enchanted prince, so I let him go again." "Did you not wish for anything first?" said the woman. "No," said the man. "What should I wish for?" "Ah," said the woman, "it is surely hard to have lived always in this dirty pigsty. You might have wished for a small cottage for us. Go back and call him. Tell him we want to have a small cottage. He will certainly give us that." "Ah," said the man, "why should I go there again?" "Why," said the woman, "you did catch him, and you let him go again. He is sure to do it. Go at once." The man still did not quite like to go, but did not like to oppose his wife, and went to the sea. When he got there, the sea was all green and yellow, and no longer so smooth, so he stood still and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray, here to me, for my wife, good Isabel, has sent me here against my will." Then the flounder came swimming to him and said, "Well, what does she want then?" "Ah," said the man, "I did catch you, and my wife says I really ought to have wished for something. She does not like to live in a wretched pigsty any longer. She would like to have a cottage." "Go then," said the flounder. "She has it all ready." When the man went home, his wife was no longer in the pigsty, but instead of it there stood a small cottage, and she was sitting on a bench before the door. Then she took him by the hand and said to him, "Just come inside. Look, now isn't this a great deal better?" So they went in, and there was a small porch, and a pretty little parlor, and bedroom, and a kitchen, and pantry, with the best of furniture, and fitted up with the most beautiful things made of tin and brass, whatever was wanted. And behind the cottage there was a small yard, with hens and ducks, and a little garden, flowers and fruit. "Look," said the wife, "is not that nice?" "Yes," said the husband, "so we must always think it. Now we will live quite contented." "Well, think about that," said the wife. With that they ate something and went to bed. Everything went well for a week, or a fortnight. And then the woman said, "Listen, husband, this cottage is far too small for us, and the garden and yard are little. The flounder might just as well have given us a larger house. I should like to live in a great stone castle. Go to the flounder and tell him to give us a castle." "Ah, wife," said the man, "the cottage is quite good enough. Why should we live in a castle?" "What?" said the woman. "Just go there. The flounder can always do that." "No, wife," said the man. "The flounder has just given us the cottage. I do not like to go back so soon. It might make him angry." "Go," said the woman. "He can do it quite easily and will be glad to do it. Just you go to him." The man's heart grew heavy. He did not want to go. He said to himself, "It's not right." And yet he went. And when he came to the sea, the water was quite purple and dark blue, and grey and thick, and no longer so green and yellow. But it was still quiet, and he stood there and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray you, here to me, for my wife, good Isabel, has sent me here against my will." "Well, what does she want then?" said the flounder. "Alas," said the man, half scared, "she wants to live in a great stone castle." "Go to it then." "She is standing before the door," said the flounder. Then the man went away, intending to go home. When he got there, he found a great stone palace, and his wife was just standing on the steps, going in, and she took him by the hand and said, "Come in." He went in with her, and in the castle was a great hall paved with marble, and many servants, who flung the doors wide. And the walls were all bright, beautiful hangings, and in the rooms were chairs and tables of pure gold, and crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, while the rooms, bedrooms, and carpets, and food and wine of the very best were standing on all the tables, so that they nearly broke down beneath it. Behind the house, too, there was a great courtyard, stables for horses and cows, and the very best of carriages. There was a magnificent large garden, too, the most beautiful flowers, fruit trees, and a park half a mile long, in which were the stags, deers, and hares, and everything that could be desired. "Come," said the woman. "Isn't that beautiful?" "Yes, indeed," said the man. "Now let it be, and we will live in this beautiful castle and be content." "We will consider about that," said the woman, and sleep upon it. Then they went to bed. The next morning the wife awoke first, and it was just daybreak. From her bed she saw the beautiful country lying before her. Her husband was still stretching himself, so she poked him in the side with her elbow and said, "Get up, husband, and just peep out the window. Look, couldn't we be the king over all that land? Go to the flounder, we will be the king." "Ah, wife," said the man, "why should we be king? I do not want to be king." Just wish for a new wife. Yeah, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. She's, yeah. "Well," said the wife, "if you won't be king, I will go to the flounder, for I will be king." "Ah, wife," said the man, "why do you want to be king? I do not want to say that to him." "Why not?" said the woman. "Go to him this instant. I must be king." So the man went, and was quite unhappy, because his wife wished to be king. "It is not right, it is not right," thought he. He did not wish to go, but yet he went. And when he came to the sea, it was quite dark grey, and the water heaved upon from below, and smelled putrid. Then he went and stood by it, and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray you, here to me, for my wife, good Isabel, has sent me here against my will." "Well, what does she want then?" said the flounder. "Alas," said the man, "she wants to be king." "Go to her, she is king already." So the man went, and when he came back to the palace, the castle had become much larger, had a great tower and magnificent ornaments, and the sentinel was standing before the door, and there were numbers of soldiers with kettle drums and trumpets. And when he went inside the house, everything was real marble and gold, velvet covers and great golden tassels. Then the doors of the hall were opened, and there was the court in all its splendor, and his wife was sitting on a high throne of gold and diamonds, the great crown of gold on her head, and a scepter of pure gold and jewels in her hand. And on both sides of her stood her maids in waiting, in a row, each of them always one head shorter than the last. Then he went and stood before her and said, "Ah, wife, and now you are king." "Yes," said the woman, "now I am king." So he stood and looked at her. And when he had looked at her thus for some time, he said, "And now that you are king, let all else be. Now we will wish for nothing more." "Nay, husband," said the woman, quite anxiously, "I find time passes very heavily. I can bear it no longer. Go to the flounder. I am king, but I must be emperor too." "Alas, wife, why do you wish to be emperor?" "Husband," she said, "go to the flounder. I will be emperor." "Alas, wife," said the man, "he cannot make you emperor. I may not say that to the fish. There is only one emperor in the land, an emperor the flounder cannot make you. I assure you he cannot." "What?" said the woman. "I am the king, and you are nothing but my husband. Will you go this moment? Go at once. If he can make a king, he can make an emperor. I will be emperor. Go instantly." So he was forced to go. As the man went, however, he was troubled in mind. Thought to himself, "I will not end well. It will not end well. Emperor's too shameless. The flounder will at last be tired out." With that he reached the sea, and the sea was quite black and thick, and began to boil up from below, so that it threw up bubbles, and such a sharp wind blew over it that it curdled, and the man was afraid. Then he went and stood by it. "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray you, here to me, for my wife, good Isabel, has sent me here against my will." It's been 2 years. Exactly. Like, this woman, like, be happy with what you fucking have. Like, it's one thing to ask for the cottage, but anything more was just no. Mans was content with living his life. "Well, what does she want then?" said the flounder. "Alas, flounder," said he, "my wife wants to be emperor." "Go to her," said the flounder. "She is emperor already." So the man went, and he got there. Whole palace was made of polished marble, with alabaster figures and golden ornaments, and soldiers were marching before the door, blowing trumpets and beating cymbals about as servants. Then they opened the door to him, which were made of pure gold. And when he entered, there sat his wife on a throne, which was made of one piece of gold, and was at least 2 miles high. And she wore a great golden crown, and was 3 yards high, and set with diamonds and carbuncles. And in one hand she had the scepter, and in the other the imperial orb. And on both sides of her stood the yeomen of the guard in 2 rows, each being smaller than one before him, from the biggest giant, who was 2 miles high, to the very smallest dwarf, just as big as my little finger. And before it stood a number of princes and dukes. Then the man went and stood among them, and said, "Wife, are you emperor now?" "Yes," she said, "now I am emperor." Then he stood and looked at her. Well, and when he had looked at her for some time, he said, "Ah, wife, be content now that you are emperor?" Jesus fucking Christ, how long is this? "Husband," she said, "why are you standing there? Now I am emperor, but I will be pope too. Go to the front." Jesus Christ, this woman. Jesus Christ, this woman. Dude, just leave her. Just leave her. Leave her. Leave her. Leave her ass. Leave her ass. At this point, I would have just wished for a better wife. I would have wished for a better wife a long fucking time ago if I was him. Like, she is so unhappy and so discontent with literally everything he does. No. That's toxic as hell. And her forcing him to do this against his will, too. Like, that's even worse. Alas, wife, said the man, what will you not wish for? You cannot be pope. There is but one Christdom. He cannot make you pope. Husband, said she, I will be pope. Go immediately. I must be pope. This very day. No, wife, said the man. I do not want to say that to him. That would not do. It is too much. The flounder can't make you pope. Husband, she said, what nonsense! If he can make me an emperor, he can make me a pope. Go to him directly. I am emperor, and you are nothing but my husband. You will go at once. Jesus. Just have her replaced by cats, right? And, like, this insult here. You are nothing more but my husband. That's fuck. She's treating him like property. She's treating him like property, and that's unacceptable. Then he was afraid, and went, but he was quite faint, and shivered and shook, and his knees and legs trembled. And a high wind blew over the lands, and the clouds flew, and towards evening all grew dark, and the leaves fell from the trees, and the water rose and roared as if it were boiling, and splashed upon the shore, and in the distance he saw ships, which were firing guns in distress, pitching and tossing on the waves, and yet in the midst of the sky there was still a small bit of blue, though on every side it was as red as in heavy storm, so full of despair. He went and stood much in fear, and said, Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray you, here to me, for my wife good Isabel has sent me here against my will. Well, what does she want, then? Said the flounder. Alas, said the man, she wants to be pope. Go to her, then, said the flounder. She is pope already. So he went, and when he got there, he saw what seemed to be a large church surrounded by palaces. He pushed his way through the crowd. Inside, however, everything was lighted up with thousands. Jesus, how long? Hold on. I want to see how long this goes. Okay. Okay. It's almost done. He pushed his way through the crowd. Inside, however, everything was lighted up with thousands and thousands of candles, and his wife was clad in gold. She was sitting on a much higher throne, and had 3 great gold crowns on, and round about her there was much ecclesiastic splendor, and on both sides of her was a row of candles, and the largest of which was as tall as the very tallest tower, down to the very smallest kitchen candle, and all the emperors and kings were on their knees before her, kissing her shoe. Wife, said the man, and looked attentively at her, are you now pope? Yes, said she, I am pope. So he stood and looked at her, and it was just as if he was looking at the bright sun. When he had stood looking at her thus for a short time, he said, Ah, wife, if you are pope, do let well enough alone. But she looked as stiff as a post, and did not move or show any signs of life. Then he said, Wife, now that you are pope, be satisfied. You cannot become anything greater now. This fish should tell them to stop their bullshit by now. Hey B, how are you? I'm sorry you're stuck with Twitch Mobile. Surely he can just point at her and shout Twitch by now. Yeah? Yeah. But with me, my whole thing is he should have nipped it in the bud immediately. Like, after that cottage, after they got the cottage, he should have been like, no, that's enough. I'm putting my fucking foot down. If you don't like it, you can leave. That's how I would have done it. I would have been like, if you're not happy, then don't stay with me. All right. Oh, here we are. She was as stiff as a post and did not move or show any signs of life. Then said he, Wife, now that you are Pope, be satisfied. You cannot become anything greater now. I will consider about that, said the woman. At this they both went to bed, but she was not satisfied, and greediness let her have no sleep, for she was continuously thinking what there was left for her to be. Jesus, woman. It's going good. It's going good. Uh, the beginning of the stream was a little slow and a little difficult because I was trying to read horror stories, but it wasn't going well. I couldn't find anything good enough, so I just switched to Grimm fairy tales. Okay. The man slept well and soundly, for he had run about a great deal during the day. But the woman could not fall asleep at all, and flung herself from one side to the other the whole night through, thinking always what more was left for her to be, but unable to call to mind anything else. At length the sun began to rise, and when the woman saw the red of dawn, she sat up in bed and looked at it. And when through the window she saw the sun thus rising, she said, I cannot I, too, order the sun and moon to rise? Husband, she said, poking him in the ribs with her elbow, wake up! Go to the flounder, for I wish to be like God is. Jesus. Okay. The man was still half asleep, but he was horrified that he fell out of bed. He thought he must have heard wrong, and rubbed his eyes and said, Alas, wife, what are you saying? Husband, said she, if I can't order the sun and moon to rise, and have to look on and see the sun and moon rising, I can't bear it. I shall not know what it is to have another happy hour, unless I can make them rise myself. Jesus. Then she looked at him so terribly that a shudder ran over him, and said, Go at once. I wish to be like God. Jesus. This woman is insane. Alas, wife, said the man, falling on his knees before her, the flounder cannot do that. He can make an emperor and a pope. I beseech you, go on as you are and be pope. Then she fell into a rage, and her hair flew wildly about her head, and she cried, I will not endure this. I will not bear it any longer. Will you go? Then he put on his trousers and ran away like a madman. But outside, a great storm was raging and blowing so hard that he could scarcely keep his feet. Houses and trees toppled over, the mountains trembling, rocks rolled into the sea, the sky was pitch black, and it thundered and lightened. And the sea came in with black waves as high as the church towers, and the mountains, and all with crests of white foam at the top. Then he cried, but could not hear his own words. Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray you, here to me. For my wife, good Isabel, has sent me here against my will. Well, what does she want, then? Said the flounder. Alas, said he, she wants to be like God. Go to her, and you will find her back again in the dirty pigsty. And there they are, living still at this very time. Dude, wish for a therapist, right? Freaking, I agree. Mans was just putting up with so much bullshit. He was putting up with so much bullshit with that. I I would have been like, nah, we're not doing this no more. You can threaten me all you want. Get out of my house. I would have shoved her into the sea. I would have shoved her into the sea and wished for the flounder to return back to his human form. Is that mean? Is that mean? I feel like that's mean that I would do that, but like, she was never satisfied with anything he did. I feel like that was so cold and so mean and just. No. Oh, here's a cute little short. Well, not cute, but here's a short little one. The riddle. There was once a king's son who was seized with a desire to travel about the world, and took no one with him but a faithful servant. One day he came across to a great forest, and when darkness overtook him, he could find no shelter, and knew not where to pass the night. Then he saw a girl who was going towards a small house, and when he came near, he saw that the maiden was young and beautiful. He spoke to her and said, "Dear child, can I and my servant find shelter for the night in the little house?" "Oh, yes," said the girl in a sad voice. "That you certainly can. But I do not advise you to venture it. Do not go in." "Why not?" asked the king's son. The maiden sighed and said, "My stepmother practices wicked arts. She is ill disposed towards strangers." Then he saw the very well that he had come to the house of a witch. But as it was dark, and he could not go farther, and also was not afraid, he entered. The old woman was sitting in an armchair by the fire, and looked the stranger with her red eyes. "Good evening," she growled she, and pretended to be quite friendly. The fucked up part is that he never did make a wish for the fish. Yeah, exactly. He should have made like something for the poor fucking flounder. "Good evening," growled she, and pretended to be quite friendly. "Take a seat and rest yourselves." She blew up the fire on which she was cooking something in a small pot. The daughter warned the two to be prudent, to eat nothing and drink nothing, for the old woman brewed evil drinks. They slept quietly until early morning. When they were readying for their departure, and the king's son was already seated on his horse, the old woman said, "Stop a moment. I will first hand you a parting draught." While she fetched it, the king's son rode away, and the servant, who had to buckle his saddle tight, was the only one present. The wicked witch came with the drink. "Take that to your master," she said. But at that instant the glass broke and the poison spurted onto the horse, and it was so strong that the animal immediately fell down dead. The servant ran after his master and told him what happened, but would not leave his saddle behind him, and ran back to fetch it. When, however, he came to the dead horse, a raven was already sitting on it, devouring it. "Who knows whether we shall find anything better today?" said the servant. So he killed the raven, took it with him, and now they journeyed onwards into the forest the whole day, but could not get out of it. By nightfall they found an inn and entered it. The servant gave the raven to the innkeeper to make ready for supper. They had, however, stumbled on a den of murderers, and during the darkness 12 of these came, intended to kill strangers and rob them. Before they set about this work, They sat down to supper, and the innkeeper and the witch sat down with them, and together they ate a dish of soup in which was cut up the flesh of the raven. Hardly, however, they had swallowed a couple of mouthfuls before they all fell down dead, for the raven had passed on to them the poison from the horseflesh. There was no one else left in the house but the innkeeper's daughter, who was honest, and had taken no part in their godless deeds. She opened all doors to the stranger, and showed him the heaped up treasures. But the king's son said she might keep everything. He would have none of it, and rode onwards with his servant. After they had travelled for a long time, they came to a town in which was a beautiful but proud princess, who had caused it to be proclaimed that whoever should set her riddle, which she could not guess, that man, sorry, I'm having trouble reading this. My ear just started ringing really bad, and I got distracted. After they had traveled for a long time, they came to a town in which was a beautiful, proud princess, who had caused it to be proclaimed that whoever should set her riddle, which she could not guess, that man should be her husband. But if she guessed it, his head must be cut off. She had 3 days to guess it in, but was so clever that she always found the answer to the riddle given to her before the appointed time. 9 suitors had already perished in this manner, when the king's son arrived, and blinded by her great beauty, was willing to stake his life for it. Then he went to her, and laid his riddle before her. "What is this?" said he. "On slew none, and yet slew 12. She did not know what that was. She thought and thought, but she could not find out. She opened her riddle books, but it was not in them. In short, her wisdom was at an end. As she did not know how to help herself, she ordered her maid to creep into the lord's sleeping chamber, and listen to his dreams, and thought he would perhaps speak in his sleep and discover the riddle. But the clever servant had placed himself in the bed instead of his master. And when the maid came there, he tore off from her the mantle in which she had wrapped herself, and chased her out with rods. The second night the king's daughter sent her maid in waiting, who was to see if she could succeed better listening. But the servant took her mantle also away from her, and hunted her out with rods. Now the master believed himself safe for the 3rd night, and laid down in his own bed. Then came the princess herself. She had put on misty grey mantle, and she seated herself near him. And when she thought he was sleeping and dreaming, she spoke to him, and hoped he would answer in his deep sleep, as many do. But he was awake, and understood and heard everything quite well. Then she asked, "One slew none. What is that?" He replied, "A raven, which ate of a dead and poisoned horse, and died of it." She inquired further, "And yet slew 12? What is that?" He answered, "That means 12 murderers, who ate the raven and died of it." When she knew the answer to the riddle, she wanted to steal away, but he held her mantle so fast that she was forced to leave it behind. Next morning the king's daughter announced that she was guessed the riddle, and sent for the 12 judges and expounded it before them. But the youth begged for a hearing, and said, "She stole into the room in the night and questioned me otherwise. She could not have discovered it." The judges said, "Bring us a proof of this." Then the 3 mantles were brought by the servant. When the judges saw the misty grey one, which the king's daughter usually wore, they said, "Let the mantle be embroidered with gold and silver, and then it will be your wedding mantle." Hey, Shads. That's what you get for trying to cheat the frickin'. was interesting. It's like these stories are getting longer and longer, and I'm trying to find a short one. Singing bone. This one's kind of short. Okay. The singing bone. In a certain country, there was once a great lamentation, but I'm having trouble speaking. The singing bone. Let's try this again. In a certain country, there was once a great lamentation over a wild boar that ravaged the farmers' fields, killed the cattle, and ripped up people's bodies with his tusks. The king promised a large reward to anyone who would free the land from this plague, but the beast was so big and strong that no one dared to go near the forest in which it lived. At last the king gave notice that whoever should capture or kill the boar should have his only daughter as wife. Stretch my legs. It's starting to hurt a little. Now there lived in the country two brothers, sons of a poor man, who declared themselves willing to undertake the hazardous enterprise. The elder, who was crafty and shrewd, out of pride; the younger, who was innocent and simple, from a kind heart. The king said, "In order to be sure of finding the beast, you must go into the forest from opposite sides." So the elder went in on the west side, and the younger on the east. When the younger had gone a short way, a little man stepped up to him. He held in his hand a black spear and said, "I give you this spear because your heart is pure and good. With this you can boldly attack the wild boar, and it will do you no harm." He thanked the little man, shouldered the spear, and went on fearlessly. Before long he saw the beast, which rushed at him, but he held the spear towards it, and in its blind fury it ran so swiftly against it that its heart was cut in two. Then he took the monster on his back and went homeward with it to the king. As he came out to the other side of the wood, there stood the entrance a house where people were making merry with wine and dancing. His elder brother had gone in there, and, thinking that after all the boar would not run away, was going to drink until he felt brave. But when he saw his young brother coming out of the wood, laden with his booty, his envious evil heart gave him no peace. He called out to him, "Come in, dear brother, rest and refresh yourself with a cup of wine." The youth, who suspected no evil, went in and told him about the good little man who had given him the spear with which he had slain the boar. The elder brother kept him there until the evening, and then they went away together, and when in darkness they came to a bridge over a brook. The elder brother let the other go first, and when he was halfway across, he gave him such a blow from behind that he fell down dead. He buried him beneath the bridge, took the boar, and carried it to the king, pretending that he had killed it, whereupon he obtained the king's daughter in marriage. And when his younger brother did not come back, he said, "The boar must have killed him." And everyone believed it. But as nothing remains hidden from God, this black deed was to come to light. Years afterwards, a shepherd was driving his herd across the bridge, and saw lying in the sand beneath a snow-white little bone. He thought it would make a good mouthpiece,
So he clambered it down, picked it up, and cut out of it a mouthpiece for his horn. But when he blew through it for the first time, to his great astonishment, the bone began of its own accord to sing. Ah, friend, you blow upon my bone. Long have I lain beside the water. My brother slew me for the boar, and took for his wife the king's young daughter. What a wonderful horn, said the shepherd. It sings by itself. I must take it to my lord the king. When he came with it to the king, the horn again began to sing its little song. The king understood it all, and ordered the ground below the bridges to be dug up, and then the whole skeleton of the murdered man came to light. The wicked brother could not deny the deed, and was sewn up in a sack and drowned. But the bones of the murdered man were laid to rest in a beautiful tomb in the churchyard. Huh, that's interesting. It's an interesting little story. So, what did you guys think of the stories? I did the best I could with reading. It was a little difficult, but, you know, I might make this a thing where I read stories to you guys at some point during this. I wish I could have done the Christmas thing where I read you guys Christmas stories that were like holiday scary stories. But I couldn't find any. And like internet was being weird and not wanting to bring them up. So it's just like I will just read from books that I have. I also plan on buying cuz I have the Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. I plan on buying H.P. Lovecraft's complete horror stories. I plan on buying the Anne Rice Vampire Chronicles because I am considering doing a thing where I read Interview with the Vampire and Queen of the Damned because those are two of my favorite stories. I also want to get The Phantom of the Opera, the book. Now I don't know. RC don't gotta ban nobody. How you doing? But I want to get the Phantom of the Opera book, but I'm kind of scared to read it on here because there are some spicy things in that book that I don't know if Twitch would allow me to read those. Yeah, everything's going good so far. I'm just debating on what I want to do next because I've read like 3 fairy tales from the Grimm's fairy tales already. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. I'm debating if let's see here. I'm actually debating if I should play something. I am taking into consideration. Let's see. I have Among Us. I can play Among Us. I can finish the house in Sims.
I have Phasmophobia, I have Gary's Mod, I have Golf with Friends. I have a few options. What do you guys think I should do? If I could get opinions on what I should do next. That's right, I forgot that. It says Banjo Kazooie. I don't have Banjo Kazooie. I have actually a few limited options here. I can read the options that I have. What's happened to me? I have no idea. We no longer time him out. I think it's because he's. I think it's because he's moderator. Yeah, that's right. I forgot that I made him a as well. Did you just call him shady? What? Hi, guys. So, what do you guys think I should do? I have. Yeah, is this better? Is this better for you guys? Or is this still too quiet? Read the list of like stuff. Of like things that I have that I can play. Okay. I have Among Us. I have The Sims 4 where I can finish doing the house building. I have Phasmophobia, Gary's Mod, Golf with Friends. I could play some Geoguessr. And I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all I have. Did you... Yeah, I just read everything that I have. Did you guys get that? I'm sorry, Kite. Geoguessr or golf? Okay, so with Geoguessr, I will have to... 1 second. That's not what I'm trying to do. Enjoyed Sims yesterday? Go to see if you get our country. I will say this. I'm not super great at Geoguessr.
1 second. Let me pull this up. No, that's not what I wanted. Why is this thing big but okay. Here. There's some things I gotta do real quick. It's my window. Is it window capture? Yeah, I think it's window capture. Okay. Yes. Yay. Okay, 1 second. I gotta move some stuff around here. Second. Okay. It's here to see if you countries. That's because most of the signs aren't in English. Yeah. Like, I do know some languages, but I'm not super. Second. Alrighty. Let's see here. Why is this in Spanish? Hold up. I have to go to my settings and fix the language. Alright, have an account. Okay. Single player. Yeah. See what. Okay, now it's back in English. Yes, I'm level 6. I need to get another second. Wait, am I already almost out of the 6-pack? No, I need the monsters. No, wait, there's more in there than I thought. Okay. I thought I had more. Like, I thought I had drinking more than I actually did. And I almost got sad because I thought I drank all my Monster. And I was like, no, no, not all of the Monster. I need it. Because my lack of energy. I'm kidding. Commission to use hydrate regularly. I do actually have a bottle of water that I have that sits next to me that I drink during the stream too. I don't drink just Monster. I drink water too, so I do take care of myself. Let's start. America. Immediately, due to the houses, I can confidently say this is America. Because as far as I know, no other countries have houses this fucking huge. Like, look at that. That is huge. That is this is an American, yep, Ford truck. There is a Ford truck there, or Dodge. That's a truck. Or it didn't happen. I can show you in freaking Discord. I can send you pictures in Discord to prove that I am drinking water. Complete with Carl. Why is this not letting me get world around me? Oh yeah, that is a Dodge. That is a Dodge Ram or Toyota. American truck built for tough. Yeah. Yeah. Well, take in the consideration of one, the houses and the trucks. Let's see if there are any other hints about this place. Construction. Florida? What? Oh, you mean Florida. No, I don't think this is Florida. It's too... Photoshopped water bottle? Okay, it can't be a photoshopped water bottle because of the fact that I use a giant Shasta 2-liter and put water in it and put lemon juice in it to give it flavor. Shasta is a brand of soda here. But I did not drink the soda because I actually don't care for soda. Another truck. Coffee isn't bad for you. Actually, coffee is a diuretic. Coffee has been used in weight loss and other things. Coffee can actually be healthy for you just as long as you don't put a bunch of junk in it. Ours, you're not that old. You're the same age as my roommate. Which makes you guys, like, what? Just a few years older than me? You guys aren't older than me by much. No, not a water bottle full of soda. It is a soda 2-liter full of water. I will send you a picture in Discord. Here, as a matter of fact, I will do that right now.
I will send you a picture in Discord. There is lemon juice in this as well, though, so that way it has flavor. Because I don't drink just plain water, because its flavor is shit. So I add a little bit of lemon juice to it. Because lemon is actually healthy for you as well. Let's see. Here's Kites. Where is the chat? Select more. This one. There. That's because I literally just messaged you a picture of the water bottle. Well, soda bottle with lemon water in it. Yeah, no, my roommates drink soda, but I don't. But we save the bottles so that way we can like pour lemon or tea or something and like water or tea in it. Let's see, okay, where was I? Right. Trying to find anything that would basically tell me what the fuck this place is. So much construction. See, that's another thing about here in America. They do shit tons of construction on roads, and nothing gets done for at least 4 years, if not more. No. Hold on. There was a bit of a technical difficulty. One sec. Okay, there we go. Ramston once said sheds. Mine hurts, but oh. Okay. Said Crescent Avenue. Like, I would say this looks like. See, I have lived on the West Coast my entire life. I have never lived on the East Coast. So it's kind of hard for me to judge where places are, considering the fact that I haven't been anywhere aside from California, Oregon, Nevada, and Washington. I would like to go to the East Coast at some point. That would be nice. There are some places I have in mind that I would like to visit. But for me, everything looks like Nevada, Oregon, Washington, and California. Because that's all I know. That's all I grew up with. Yeah, like this looks like Oregon. To Salem? Which Salem? Because there are so many states here that have Salem as a city. Oregon is one of them. Oregon has Salem. Massachusetts has Salem. Forget to set the category. Oh yeah, no, I had the category set as reading Grimm's fairy tales and just chatting. I may need to add and playing games.
Czechoslovakia, Shads and Zeewood. I have considered traveling to Europe to visit you, to visit some friends and stuff. Oh, you're talking about Massachusetts. I actually did want to visit Salem, Massachusetts, but I have a friend who lives there, and she said it's a tourist trap. She was like, "Don't. It's a tourist trap. It's not what you think." It's fairy tales. Geoguess. There we go. That's set. I know, but we were talking about like me potentially moving to a different state. Cause I do, don't get me wrong, I do love the state that I live in currently, but I have always wondered what it would be like to live like on the East Coast, more specifically northern East Coast, because I have family that live out that way. And like one of my friends and I were talking about Massachusetts, and she goes, "Don't move here. You won't like it." And I was like, "Oh." And she's like, "No, you're gonna fucking hate it. Like I guarantee you you're gonna fucking hate it if you move out here." And I was just like, "Oh, well that sucks." And she's like, "Salem is not what you think." It's just like, "Oh, okay." I want to visit. But she was like, "Yeah, no, don't go to the Salem witch house. It's a ripoff." Like she was telling me all this stuff and I was just like, "Oh." I want to say this is Texas, but I have a feeling I'm going to be so fucking wrong if I say that. I have family that also live in Texas. Like, I have family that live a lot of places in the US. I have family in Wisconsin, Texas. I have a friend who lives in Minnesota. I have a friend who lives in Massachusetts. Actually, no, my friend. Yeah, no, she's. Does she still live in Massachusetts or did she move to Missouri? I can't remember. I think she moved to Missouri. If I remember. But she lived in Massachusetts like her entire life, and she lived in Salem particularly, and she's like, it's not that great. And I was like, oh, it's not? No. Salem Point is saying, they are a witch. Oh my god. Did that this stream, Mars, so you aren't wrong. The funny thing is, like, the funny thing about this is I'm Wiccan. And so you guys are like talking about like calling people witches and stuff, and I'm just like, hello, who do you think you're talking to? um, but anyway, that's besides the point. I am not finding anything that signifies where this potentially might. Hold up. Does sign say what I think it said? Oh, I thought it said Lane County.
I was about to be like, this is fucking Eugene. Nope, it's not. This said Lake County, not Lane. You knew what, Mars? What did you know? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I have no idea. Oh, are you gonna hurt an innocent girl? You'll get the gun that fires the bricks. You're gonna hurt an innocent girl? I did nothing wrong. What are you talking about? Please, Mr. Kite, don't shoot me with a gun full of bricks. I don't want to die. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. I don't want to die, but like... Kite was pointing fingers. See, I see nothing that fucking... Why does everywhere in the United States look the same? Fuck it, I'm saying this is Texas. I don't care. I'm saying this is Texas. Not Nevada. I wanted Texas. I'm saying this is Texas. I'm saying San Antonio particularly. Wait, what? Hold up. Chicago? Can we stop at Domino's? Funny thing is, we had Domino's last night. This is on the board. What? What? Some good. No, is it good? I have never seen Good Omens. I don't know. Is it? Miss my grandma. Mexico? Finder General has a brick gun. Why? Why is that a thing? Why does he have a brick gun? Like, he throws bricks at witches? Okay. You just see some poor girl sitting there trying to do a tarot reading for her friend, and then a brick just come flying out of nowhere. That's so fucked. That is so fucked. Fuck am I? This is all farmland. Another ginormous house. That is too big of a house to just... Never actually found out which the gun is historic. Closest they ever come to firing it is at a child. What? He fires it at a child? Why? Dear God. Why did my first instinct go to Polish? I know that's not right. Suggest they fire at the child. Why? Why is he even suggesting firing it at a child? Like, what the fuck? Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? It's in Europe. The child is the Antichrist. Shoot it. Sounds relatable. What? What? I'm not saying Poyo to that. That's fucked up. Granted, what we were talking about yesterday probably wasn't much better. What? That somewhere over here. I said Polish. My brain went Polish. And I go, no, that's gotta be wrong. It was Poland. I should have just gone with my first instinct. When my brain went, hey, that's Polish. I went, no, it's not. It was Polish. It was in Poland. And that's the dumb thing is I know what Polish looks like. I can't read it, but I know what it looks like. And so when my brain said, oh, it's Polish, I should have fucking went, oh yeah, Poland, but no. I was like, no, that's not Polish. Shads has actually been to Croatia. Nice. What's Croatia like? I've heard it's an interesting vacation spot. This immediately made me think of Yakuza. I don't know why, but this immediately made me think of the game Yakuza. Like, seeing this reminded me of how in Yakuza they had, like, that big, like, dojo place that they would go to meet up in the game. Like, that's the type of vibes this gave me for some fucking reason. My brain just went, Kiryu? Are you hiding in there? Or is that Majima that's hiding in there? Which I will say Majima is my favorite. Out of all the Yakuza characters, Majima is my favorite. I think Shads is ignoring us.
hell even am I? Oh, there's the crow thing going on there. Shads did Shads. Shads! Why you no like me anymore? Did I do something wrong? No, I'm kidding. I know I didn't do anything. At least I hope I didn't. Shads, why you no like me no more? Why did you just abandon me? I thought you were my friend. I was just failing at Fall Guys. You know, I kind of want to play that, but I don't have it on my computer, and I don't have a system that can play it. No, you ditching me for your Fall Guy friends? Am I not cool enough anymore? Am I not cool enough anymore for you, Shads? People have legs, so you know. But you're still my friend. Shads, I thought you were my friend. And then you just abandoned me. You're so mean. You're mean. You just abandon us all. Because we're not as cool as your new friends. This is Argentina. Yeah, I was thinking so. I was thinking it's either that or like Portugal for some reason. Ooh, the little Kirby. Let's see if I can do it. Fire! 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 I am here. What are you? Did you turn into All Might? Shads, did you turn into All Might? I am here. Freaking sound like All Might over there from My Hero Academia. I just felt like teasing you. Oh, Christmas gifts? Even for Mars? I thought Mars was a bad boy. I thought Mars gets no. Seems to be Brazil. Maybe. Either Brazil or Argentina. Or somewhere in this region. State of Mateo. I didn't watch it. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it too. I kind of stopped watching the anime and just started reading the manga. And it's nothing against the anime. The anime is really well done. But the manga is so far ahead. And I am so far ahead in the manga. Call him Waker. He enjoys it. I'm not British, so I feel like me calling him a wanker wouldn't be very appropriate. Now, if Crow wants to come in my chat and say that to him, cool. But I don't think I should. It was in Mexico? What? From the
phone number, I think Brazil. No, it was in Mexico. I lost interest in the manga at one point. The manga actually ramped up a shit ton. Like it got very like one, it got super dark, and two, it basically hold on, I gotta fix something here. No, that's not what I was trying to do. Screw it. Okay. Like, the manga got super dark, and the war arc that they have going on is freaking insane. Why wouldn't it let me go forward? Why give me the option for the arrow if it's just gonna end after clicking it once? Ay caramba. Come to have a I could not fucking read that. I was trying to, and I think I fucking slaughtered it. Give me signs and languages that I can actually speak and read, please. Even if not, I'll figure it out. I always do. Kilometer. Yeah, no. That's immediately. That's how I know this isn't America. Because we don't go by kilometers. We go by miles. We're weird. The rest of the world goes by kilometers. But America goes, nope, we're going by miles. Because we want to be unique. We want to be special. Sorry, I am such a salty bitch. I don't know why I'm such a salty bitch. Italy. I don't know. I haven't seen any signs to give me any. Fuck off, car. Annoying. Being stuck behind this van, or not van, but this truck, is annoying. What? Why? Why did you? To what I think is a bot on Discord. If you think it's a bot, just like for me, I immediately am like, nope, block. I ban them if they're bots. Send a captcha. I'm sorry, I just zoned the fuck out there for a minute. I just kept clicking and zoned the hell out. I don't know what happened. Going through a tough divorce there. Into chat. Why are they like flirting with you in chat? Like what the hell is going on there? What the fuck? This is some bullshit. Like this is like the
fact that I have to do this because it won't let me do anything else currently. They just asked you how you are? Huh. How do you know they're a bot? There are no fucking signs. What? Throwing it somewhere in here. Fuck. Oh. 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 Tell them been better. Wife left with best friend. My kids don't respect me. They steal from me. Well, after recently undergoing surgery to get a second heart. What? Oh, you guys are good. That stuff. Yes, it is Japan. I can tell right away. Just by the language and how it. But I'm trying to see if there's any, like, hiragana or kanji that I recognize that I can actually read the sign to give me hints. I think this is somewhere in Tokyo, actually. No, not Tokyo, actually. Yeah, no, I don't think. Actually, now I don't think this is Tokyo now that I'm getting a better look at it. It's in Japan, that is certain, but I don't think it's Tokyo anymore. Um, why did you take me to a bus yard? What? Are you just gonna spin me in circles? Okay, they're trying to sell me. Yeah, yeah, they're a scammer. They're a scammer. Block them. Block them. Just say you're done. You're banned. Bye. If they are trying to sell you shit like that, yeah, no, they're trying to scam your ass. Kite, just ban them. Imagine if it was the US in a small movie set in Hollywood. Yeah, no. That would be some Inception bullshit going on. That would just be like the worst. I want to visit Japan, so you know what? This might be Kyoto or whatever. Not Kyoto. Fucking brain. No, it's Japan. It's Japan for certain. But yeah, this is absolutely Japan. Just I'm trying to where in Japan though. See, like here's a it's like a Oh, they sell kimonos there. These are all like older buildings too. Looking at them, they're older buildings, so it's an older city. Especially because of how close together it is. Go home, Shads, you're drunk. I think this is one of the cities that I wanted to visit. Kansai? Maybe. I don't know. I would have to look at the map here. Just I'm trying to see if there's anything that for certain sticks out to me. Kanto. Kanto. Yeah, that could be a hint. Because that looks like a landmark. It has some expensive cars. Yeah, I would say this is probably in like an older portion of um brain. Work with me today. So there's a few places that this actually could be. Um because of how narrow the streets are, I want to say Takayama. I want to say either Takayama or like Kyoto region, but it's probably more Takayama because Takayama is the place that has like the super narrow streets like this. You know what? Yeah, that might be the Tokyo Tower. This could be in an older portion of Tokyo. Because I know for certain it's Japan. I'm thinking Tokyo Tower would be right here in the heart of Tokyo. You can see it from a distance away, but you're still far enough. Oh, because I think that is Tokyo Tower, actually. Um, Prefecture, Minato, Goto, Togawa, Tsushika, Adachi, Shima, Itabashi, Rima, Suganami, Setsugaya, Shinagawa. But part of me wants to say that it's like Yonka, Yanaka, Yanaka, I think is the town. Not Yonka, Yanaka. Like the area of Tokyo that's known as Yanaka, which has been around for a while. Um, Yashiro, Soka, Sato, Suo, Yachiyo, Narashino. Okay, first off, let's figure out where the heck Tokyo Tower is. And we can go from there. There's the Hige Shrine. Tokyo Tower. Here we go. Here's Tokyo Tower. That's Tokyo Tower. Let's go this way. Daimon Station. It's definitely an area where you can see it from, but from like a far off. And the Shibuya Prefecture. Tokyo University. Yeah, that's right, because Kokoro means heart. I am still learning Japanese, but I would love to learn more Japanese considering the fact that I want to go to Japan sometime. I would love to. Love to. Midtown, Jingu, Diane Ginko Avenue, Nezu Museum, Shioma statue, Shizen Shibuya again. Oh my. Higashi Kitsawa. Of course, are names of the highways. Actually, part of me wants to say it's no, because it's not. I feel like Shibuya sure would affect. Kyoto Tower. It's quite a ways. Tower is over here. I'm just gonna say it's in the Shibuya region. Wait, what? That was Taiwan? My brain hurts. Okay, Mars. But my brain hurts. My brain hurts. I thought that was Tokyo Tower. I thought that was Tokyo Tower. That looked like Japan. I should have known. Because I couldn't find any type of kanji or hiragana that I recognized. And I should have known that it was Taiwanese, not Japanese, because I couldn't read it. I don't know Taiwanese. I know Japanese a little bit. I can read a little bit of it, but I cannot read Taiwanese. That wasn't so true. Summary. Yeah, I did a shit job. Let's do something I know better. Let's see here. Yeah, let's play with Japan and see what I can see if I can recognize the areas. Oh boy. Oh, okay. I'm gonna play Japan first, and then I'll do Europe. This is a very old building. Immediately, I can tell that. Gomen? Gomen? Mars, I didn't know you could speak Japanese. Sign. Fucking sign. Oh, that's so blurry. I can't read that. Yeah, that's blurry. I can't. Far enough to see the sign. That's literally right the fuck above me. Wait a second. That's Alaska. Literally just right across. My brain. Oh god. Why am I so tired? I suddenly got really tired. Oh no. There's Nakata. Uh. Here we go. Nagano. There's the 19. And it said you'd there because they're on Nagano 19. It's 19. The cross section 31 and 452. There's 284. 27. Taking 19 all the way up. 7. Goes into Six. Jesus. This is taking. Says Nagata. I'm just gonna click. Well, wasn't too far off. Starting to get tired. I think after I'm done with this one, I may call it quits for today. After I'm done with. These look newer. This looks more modern. These are definitely more modern homes. It's a more modern city. I'm trying to think. Let's see. It's not what. Suck. It's already somewhere. Oh wow. Okay, that was way off. This is. Let's see. See any street signs that give me. I know their street signs aren't like street signs are. somewhere. Suck. Somewhere. Oh wow, I was super fucking close that time. Nice. Signs. Central Zoo. Poyo! Poyo, poyo! 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 See. At this point, I'm just gonna start taking guesses because I'm actually getting really tired. Stopping. I see that. Somewhere. Oh, my body. Super sore. I'm gonna. Oh! That was actually very close. That's cool. Alright, well, I'm getting tired and I'm kind of not feeling so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and log off for today. I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you for watching my stream. I know it was a little boring, but I tried. But you guys have a good one, and thank you for joining my stream. Have a good night, guys.